All right, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Agents Unleashed podcast, the show that helps you sort the signal from the noise in the fast-paced world of agentic AI. My name is Thomas Maybar, and I'm a producer at Valerie, one of the core contributors to Olus, who sponsor the show. Olus is the best way for anyone to own and monetize an AI agent. That includes people just like you. You can learn more about how to do that at olus.network. So this is the 24th episode of Agents Unleashed, which means that we've officially completed our first season. So I thought this would be a perfect time to look back at some of the highlights from our first season. A great place to start is obviously at the beginning, so let's return to episode 2 of the show, where I spoke with David Minarsch, the co-founder and CEO of Valerie and one of the founding members of Olus. I asked David if he thought that people were fully grasping the power and potential of autonomous AI agents, and here's what he had to say.
Let's say a year ago, people in crypto would still be like, what? Like crypto agents? Like, that's not a thing. Now that's like not the case, right? Like people have, like, for better or worse, have like an image in their head of like what an agent in crypto is. And I think for better or worse, because the better is now there's attention for the concept as a whole, but the worse is it's still like so undersold, like you say, like so underappreciated how powerful it can be to give agents a wallet and how powerful it can be for the products. Like I really like to think of it as sort of, you know, the original notion of crypto was like not your keys, not your coins. That sort of sums up a lot of what early believers in crypto were kind of on about, like decentralization, censorship resistance, self-sovereignty, these kind of things. With AI, you have like not your weights, not your brain in a sense. Like if I don't own the model, what am I really having here? Like I can be shut out any moment. And I think what's exciting about agents is you kind of combine that, right? Like an agent without a wallet is not that useful because it can't really enact things in the world, can't get resources and create new ones, tap into services. An agent without a brain is pointless. So you really want to have both. And so like having an agent that you can own that sort of has that wallet, that has these weights where you like fully in control of it is like super empowering. And it opens up like this tremendous sea of exciting use cases.
Now, not every episode of Agents Unleashed is an interview. We also sometimes get to do cool demos, like in this episode where I reviewed a trending computer use agent from Small Agents. Using the agent got me thinking about the risks and trade-offs inherent in this type of AI use case. Take a look. Open Computer is running in a sandboxed environment in the cloud. It's not your computer. Now, that's great for privacy, of course, but to build a truly useful computer use agent that's clicking around through a UI like this, you're going to want it to have access to your machine, but that's going to come with some serious privacy trade-offs, obviously. In most cases, if you've got an agent like this looking at your computer, it's taking screenshots of your desktop, of anything that's open, and most likely sending that to a centralized LM provider where you completely lose control of it. Not only do you lose control, but you don't even know what is being done with it, and that should definitely give you pause. It's a relatively big ask for a honestly unproven value proposition. A demo like this does show that it is possible to run powerful AI agents in the cloud. That's very cool. We may see more of that in certain use cases. Perhaps there's undiscovered utility there. But again, there's open questions. Who captures the value? If we bring this to the user's desktop, how do we protect their privacy? How do we communicate the trade-offs? So on and so forth. It's definitely a messy area with some interesting UX challenges to be solved. Another memorable episode was this interview I did with Oleg Golev from Sentient. I had Oleg on to talk about Sentient's approach to community-generated AGI, and it led us to talking about the different types of models and their unique characteristics, including the pro-crypto Dobby model. Here's what Oleg had to say about that. Maybe you can tell me about the Dobby model. I noticed that you used the word loyal when describing it. So why loyalty, and like how do you measure loyalty?
Yeah. So Dobby is a very interesting experiment, and I'm going to call it experiment because it very much is a prototype number one in something that we've been calling the loyalty factory or the Dobby factory. The reason why Dobby was released is not to, try and push ourselves against Grok and say, look, we have a model that says swear words and it's funny. That wasn't really the point. The point is, it is a funny model that says swear words, but it also did not lose any performance on any of the benchmarks either. What you see when you work with model development is that fine-tuning on one axis has a lot of unintended downstream consequences. If you have axes A, B, C, D, improving something on axis A might actually decrease performance on axes C and D, then improve somehow unrelated axis B performance, and then it removes safety guardrails. So now, it tells you to jump off a cliff or, light up a car, and suddenly it's not a usable model. And so The reason why Dobby is so important is because it displays two accomplishments. One is we were able to make a model that is extremely unhinged and terrible, by the old person's way of saying it. All the while, it is safe, so it has basic safety. It will not inspire harm. It will bully you, but it will not inspire harm. It will also be able to perform at the level of the original model, original llama, no change in benchmark performance. And it does adhere to a set of values, a set of beliefs. So it thinks open source is the best and closed source is evil. It believes that crypto and decentralization is the future. That's the specifics. Like, why are these specifics important? The reason it's important is because we taught it to be good at axis A, that is basically polar opposite of something else. And it's good at polar opposites somehow. And that's a great achievement in achieving training in a way that almost doesn't make sense. Like, you're training on things that it shouldn't be good at the same time, right? That's the TLDR.
I've also sometimes covered the basics on the show, like in episode 17, where we looked at the deceptively simple question, what is an AI agent? Here's a moment from the end of the show where I shared the definition that I landed on, plus the OLIS perspective on AI agents. All right, so let's wrap it all up in a recap. Here's the ideas that we covered today. An AI agent is fundamentally autonomous. It operates independently to achieve its goals and functions through a cycle of perceiving its environment, reasoning about it, and acting within it. It's proactively goal-oriented. It's not just reactive. Agents rely on tools and APIs to execute complex tasks in the real world, and they can handle changing or unpredictable inputs. Agents can be solo systems or work together in multi-agent systems, where they can produce even greater outcomes, like in the OLIS Predict example. Agents can be closed-source rental services, or like in the OLIS ecosystem, owned by the people or organizations that operate them. Like the internet, agentic AI and AI agents are soon going to be everywhere, and we're convinced that the winning agents, the ones that will create lasting value and be worthy of trust, will be the ones that are built on this new set of principles. They're going to be transparent, their decision-making process will be open to inspection, they'll be collaborative and work together in open, interoperable networks. They're going to be built from modular, open source components, and ultimately they're going to be owned by their users and operators, ensuring that they serve humanity first. We're not saying that this is the only way, but we're convinced that it's the best way. Lastly, I'd like to share a moment from my recent interview with Tomasz Stanczak, the co-executive director of the Ethereum Foundation. This interview took place immediately after Ethereum's 10-year anniversary, so I asked Tomasz how he envisioned Ethereum's next decade.
In general, when we look at Ethereum nowadays, it seems that promise of decentralization of finance already has progressed a lot, right? So we have a bit of this unstoppable changes on Wall Street, around the world. The financial systems, they use stable coins, they use decentralized finance, they start integrating those. And it's great to see that. It really starts feeling like a massive win for Ethereum. And then the next 10 years is really asking big questions about what else creates the fear of centralization. Very naturally, the answer comes as AI, robots. Like we see the games of humanoid robots, but somewhere underneath we're asking very scary questions about how the future looks with AI and robotics, and where's our role and how we can participate in coordination and how we can introduce safety. And I think Ethereum has multiple components. Obviously, it's a payment infrastructure. It's a world ledger. It's in a way a set of technologies related to cryptography and verification that are used for Ethereum accounts, but also exist independently and can serve for general verification of computation. And all of this seems to be very naturally supporting the ambient trust for agents and people together. And it just simply seems that agents using traditional institutions feels too inefficient, because would they trust a group of people that continue to maintain those institutions, or would they establish the agentic systems, AI systems to manage those institutions, but then do keep the paperwork and the processes from the last centuries? Most likely not. So you can replace much of those institutional systems with deployments on Ethereum, and then agents talking to each other can just verify the claims, verify the ownership, verify the governance systems. And I think that any position, any role within those interactions can be either filled in by a human operator or agentic operator. And everywhere where you need the escalation of failures, you can escalate that to the human operator. And in some situations, maybe the agentic operator will be very naturally the best possible. So when we think about maybe autopilots on the planes or cars, for now, we may see systems that are escalating to the human control if something goes wrong. But usually, in most of the cases in the future, we'll be expecting actually that systems that require very, very fast reaction times and some kind of set of predictable risks that we would like to escalate them always to agentic operator and say that as a human, they should probably disengage from more like a leisure activity of driving in a moment of emergency.
So there you have it. That's the first season of Agents Unleashed. I want to thank you for your time and attention over the last 6 months. I've really had a lot of fun putting the show together, and I've also learned a lot doing the research and presenting these topics and ideas. As I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm going to be taking a very short break, and in a couple of weeks, we're going to return with an even better Season 2. In the meantime, I'd love to get your feedback, thoughts, ideas for the show. You can reach out to me on X, where I am at Thomas Maybrier. And I'd also like to ask for your help in growing the show. You can do that by leaving a rating, a review, a comment, or by sharing this episode with a friend or colleague. All right, so that's it for this week and this season of Agents Unleashed. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.